good to go. I think we're live. And we're live. Okay.
And we're live.
Yes, thanks for coming out. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the Summit X finale for the Saskatchewan Fall Summit. I'm Mike Woolsfeld. I'm the Saskatchewan lead for Startup TNT. You might notice things are a little bit different on stage. Jesse, who many of you all know, is in Ottawa right now for SAS North. He's actually speaking on stage there. So I had the opportunity to ask somebody else to come join me on stage, and I took the opportunity to pick somebody who makes me feel tall. So I asked Alex. No, Alex is just fantastic on stage. So Alex.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Hayden. I'm from the University of Saskatchewan, and I have the pleasure there of working with all folks that do commercialization and manage intellectual property and start new ventures. And I was super excited when Mike invited me to co-MC this event, and especially because Jesse isn't here. Because, again, Jesse makes me feel short, and also I feel like there's not enough oxygen in the room for the energy that takes both me and Jesse on stage. So thank you, Mike, for the invite. I'm super excited to be here. Excited for Summit 10 finale.
Summit 10. And before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that we're situated here on Treaty 6 territory, homeland of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and homeland of the Métis people. And look what we have for you tonight. Here are the companies that are going to be pitching here tonight. We've got ABAzyne, ePlank, JOYFuel, Lightleaf, and PathoScan. And it's a unique time for the Startup TNT Summit, because there's only one software company up here. We usually see a lot of software companies. One software company in the AI space. We got one bioscience company and 3 hardware companies. And what do you notice about this list up here, Alex?
Okay, so what excites me about this list is I buried the lead a little bit. Spoiler alert, from the University of Saskatchewan, we have a startup incubator that we've been building with the support of a lot of great community partners for the last 3 years, called Opus. We have mentors and funders and all kinds of folks in the audience tonight. And 2 of these companies are out of that incubator. So that's exciting for us. I'm not playing favorites, but the thesis here was that the university should be and could be doing a better job of preparing academics, students who want to found companies to be successful at a place like Startup TNT. And so I feel like we're right. I'm right. Here we are.
Yeah, I think what we see here is evidence that the ecosystem is working. We've got academics using programs that are supported by many other people here in the room, building companies here. We have third-time founder moved back to Saskatoon, wants to build his company here. I think there's a lot of signals here that the Saskatchewan ecosystem is working, and these companies are evidence of that. All right, and here's what we're here for tonight. This is how it works. So how the Startup TNT process works is we are not a pitch competition, we're not an incubator, we're a deal screening process. So what happens is this actually started about 8 weeks ago, a little over 8 weeks ago. Angel investors come together and pre-commit $5,000 checks into the process before they've even seen the companies that are going to apply. That's the level of confidence that investors have that Saskatchewan is going to churn out high-quality companies every go-around. So they pre-commit that money, and then over the course of about 8 weeks, the investors collaborate on due diligence, voting democratically to narrow the field down until we get here to the final 5 tonight, where they'll be pitching one last time on stage. Investors will go off to deliberate, and investment decisions will be announced live on stage here. And we're not like Dragon's Den, where we record everything before due diligence happens, and then most of those deals fall apart. If you're getting a yes on stage, it's highly likely you're getting a check.
Mike, say a couple of words. So for me, I know so many entrepreneurs and founders. I love them. I respect them. I know I could never do what they do. What have these 5 companies, what have they gone through to get here to tonight?
Oh, they've gone through a lot. And Blaine knows the process. Alicia knows the process of going through due diligence. You got hours and hours and hours of due diligence calls with investors where you're getting grilled on everything about your business. You're spending hours assembling a data room, which is basically a gigantic Google Drive of every possible piece of information that we want to know about your business. You're introducing us to your customers, other investors, so we can do reference checks. It's a grueling process going through due diligence. That must mean we add value, right? If they're all willing to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For sure. They're suckers for punishment. That's what I know about founders. Yeah.
All right, and so TNT, what are we as an organization? So we've been around for about 5 years now. We actually started in Edmonton 5 years ago as just a happy hour. TNT actually stands for Thursday Night Tradition. We continue to do a weekly happy hour in all the cities that we operate. And then about 4.5 years ago or so, we started running these things called investment summits, where we get together and run this model. Actually, about 3 years ago today, or around this time, was the first checks that we cut in Saskatchewan. And so we're still here in Saskatchewan. We've got a big list of summit winners and a much bigger list. And what do you see in those stats there, Alex?
Okay, come on, guys. So raise your hand if you've ever been to a TNT happy hour. There's people in the room who are at your TNT finale summit who haven't been to a happy hour, so make it your business to go to a happy hour. Happy hours are too late for me. I don't usually go to them. But anyways, So what do we got? We have $15.8 million in capital invested, 37 investment summits, 453 investors engaged, and 103 companies funded in 3 years?
4.5 years.
Yeah. 4.5 years. You could have said 3 and everybody would have clapped. Those are good stats, you guys. Woo.
Yeah, and here are the stats in Saskatchewan. So this is 3 years. So in Saskatchewan, we've had 190 angels cut checks into Saskatchewan companies. The thing I love about that stat is we've got 26 companies, but about 60% of that 190 angels come from out of province. So that means that there's angels who didn't pre-commit money. They're actually selecting and picking Saskatchewan companies that they want to put their money into. We've got 26 companies here in Saskatchewan. 38% of the Saskatchewan portfolio is female founded. 19% of that is BIPOC founded. And Alex, we talked a little bit about this earlier. How does that compare to the broader VC?
So Mike threw this out to me in our little rehearsal, and I told him that when he told me the right answer, I was just going to repeat it and pretend I was smart. So 38% of these companies are female founded. The question Mike asked me was, how does that compare to the regular sort of standard VC? I didn't have the number off the top of my head. Who knows in the room? Anyone else?
I think I trust Katrina.
2.2. Ask Katrina. So no one's going to even argue with Katrina? No. I've heard numbers lower than that. That's what I'm looking for, right? I've heard numbers lower than that in stats, okay? So anyways, Startup TNT punching above the weight for female founded, for BIPOC founders. Cheers to you guys.
Yeah, and $4 million invested in Saskatchewan companies, and that number is going to grow tonight. And actually, you'll see a few announcements in the next few weeks. We have some follow-on deals in Saskatchewan as well, where more money will be coming from TNT, angel investors, and the VC fund into Saskatchewan companies. All right, and none of this would be possible without our partners and sponsors. So first, I'd like to thank our core funding partners, Innovation Saskatchewan and Prairies Economic Development Canada, or PrairiesCan. Could not do this without them. Really grateful to have them around the table. We can actually talk about Innovation Saskatchewan now that the writ is finished. So glad to see you here. Our best friends forever, we have API, Applied Pharmaceutical Innovations. They help us run our Life Sciences Summit, which is actually running concurrently with these summits here. Osler, we have as best friend forever. McKercher and Faskin as well, some other great startup lawyers. MNP on the accounting side, and our best friends. In close friends, we have KRP, BDC, RBCX, BDO, Economic Development, Regina, nobody's tell Cynthia Block that I said that. University of Calgary, and then our community supporters, we had Startup Canada and Saskatchewan Indigenous Economic
I have
Development
lots
Network.
of good friends at lots of these places. A round of applause for all the friends of Startup TNT. I did not want to be the person standing in front of one of those as Mike was thanking them. So.
All right, and we wouldn't be able to be here without our friends at Vendasta. So we want to give a big thanks to Vendasta. We actually have Brendan King, CEO of Vendasta, in the house tonight to say a few words. Come on up.
Brendan, come say some words. This is the Brendan mic. Yeah.
This is the one. Well, great. It's nice to have Alex here. I think she's a little more energetic than Jesse, I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Although
Thank you.
Jesse,
everybody in this room.
I would
can
say,
tell
though,
him
that Jesse's probably longer lasting. He's the last one to leave always, and I bet you're not going to be the last one to leave. Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming. I think most of you know who Vendasta is. We're a tech company founded in 2008. We're about 700 people. About 350 people are in Saskatoon. We're headquartered here. You're in our building today. We have floors 12 to 17, so 17 is the upstairs and 16 is here, and I heard some folks talking about it. Yes, this was way back in the day. This was Villy's, the restaurant, and Martini's, the bar, I guess. And we filled this area in, so we used to look down to here. But a couple of quick housekeeping tips. With this is, I think, the fourth one that we've hosted, or third one? Third, plus a bunch of happy hours. But what I would like to say is, if we could have people up here. Sometimes when people are talking, it's really hard, and I've noticed some people straining to hear the speaker. So when we're doing the pitches, if we could be considerate for them, I'd be very appreciative. We got it it's happening on both sides. So we're simulcasting this. So there's some tables over there. If you probably want to talk a little bit, maybe that's okay there. And if you really want to talk and drink, grab a drink and then go downstairs to where the food's at, and you can yell if you like. But I think it would be really cool if we saw people listen to the speakers. I'm really looking forward to hearing the speakers. So I just want to thank you all for coming here. Looking forward to the speakers, and let's get the show on the road.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brendan.
How awesome a supporter is Vendasta of this community, of the tech community, hosting events, always being a terrific host. And we're going to see Brendan again later. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag that at rehearsal, I stepped in and played Brendan's part, and he did a better job here right now than I did when I was doing it. But I was pretty convincing Brendan. I'm just going to say it. Yeah.
All right, so here's what's happening tonight. Always be pitching.
ABP. Always be pitching, you guys. So tonight you're going to see 5 pitches. Each founder, each company has 4 minutes to pitch. There will be 1 plus. If you can't see the little plus, because again, I'm standing in front of it. 1 plus startup funded. Mike, what's that about?
Yeah, so like I said before, Startup TNT is not a pitch competition. We're a deal screening process. So investors have been looking at these companies. We've negotiated deal terms with each one of them. Each of them were ready to cut a check for that winning company. But there might be a company or 2 or 3 that investors have been looking at that they want to invest in regardless of whether or not they win the pre-committed checks tonight. So we've had anywhere from, I think, 2 to 4 companies each summit in Saskatchewan raise deals. We've almost always had side deals in Saskatchewan, and there might be more tonight.
Yeah, so how can you help, you guys? So anyone in the room that I can see, raise your hand if you're elsewhere that we can't see, just for the fun of it. Who has ever pitched in a pitch competition? There's people in this room who've done it. Yeah, look at these hands. Who was not nervous at all to do it? No one, right? 100% respect. Thanks to Brendan for really raising that point. 100% respect to people who do this. I think it's one of the harder parts of being a founder. So how can you help? How can you help? Feedback is great. Not everybody's going to get money, but feedback is always helpful. So this is a pretty cool thing that Startup TNT is doing here. QR code. You can share some feedback and also post photos. Use hashtag Summit. This is confusing, you guys. Nobody consulted me on the branding. I'm just stepping in, whatever. It's hashtag Summit XSK. XSK.
Yeah. No, to add to the confusion, this is not the 10th summit we've done.
Mike, don't stand in front of the QR code.
We've done 37 summits. We're calling this X. It's a whole thing. Yeah. But if you can't get to the QR code and you haven't rage quit X, you can use the hashtag SummitXSK to give your feedback to the founders as well.
Make this a friendly room. Make this a friendly, supportive room for these founders who are doing a big thing.
All right, so what's next? We're not just doing this here in Saskatoon. This is happening in 4 cities across Western Canada tonight. And we've got after parties. So after we're done here tonight, we will be going over to Congress here in Saskatoon for anybody who wants to make their way there. If you're watching online and you're from any of the other cities, we've got the locations there. And of course, if you want to donate to the tab tonight, you can send an e-transfer.
Everybody likes someone who's going to donate to a tab.
startuptnt.com, and we'll give you credit for it. So we love community contributions at TNT. All right.
Let the pitches begin.
All right. So to bring up the first pitch, we have one of our amazing partners here tonight. I'm going to bring up Kelly Moore from Innovation Saskatchewan to introduce the first pitch.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks for joining us, Kelly. What does Innovation Saskatchewan do?
Okay, well, this is my first opportunity to speak about what we do, so I do have some notes, but before we begin, I just noticed everybody else had really cool titles like Best Friends Forever, and I'm just trying to figure out why we have core funders as opposed to lifelong partners. I think we need to fix that. Yeah, okay, good. Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Moore. I'm the VP of Research and Technology Park Operations. It's a real honor for me to be here. Avery, a year ago, I attended my first summit, and Avery was speaking, and a year later, they've given me the microphone, so but I still need my notes. So I'm going to run through some programs and tell you a little bit about Innovation Saskatchewan as a proud sponsor here. But if you really want the details, we've got a team just sitting over there, and Avery and Bree as well that can help you. So I do want to say that Innovation Saskatchewan is here to help grow this ecosystem, and so that the entire country, the world, and can see how incredible the tech sector is here. I know many of you may be familiar with our support, but I want to highlight a few key opportunities for all the startups and investors in the room. Our Innovation Place research and technology parks in Regina and Saskatoon are great for growing companies across all sectors. We have flexible leasing arrangements, perks like a fitness center, parking, cafe, events, sports leagues, and so on. And it's a beautiful place to be. We have Collider for co-working with low commitment and low cost needs. Investors and companies can also apply for our Saskatchewan Technology Startup Incentive, tax incentive program, and I met somebody here today who said that's why they're here, and it's helping them to make investments, and so that's super cool. It is the most aggressive program of its kind in Canada with a 45% tax credit. Not only that, but we recently doubled the cap and expanded eligibility to clean tech companies. So for those of you that are out there, note that. In addition, startups can apply for our core funding programs, which include AgTech Growth Fund, the Saskatchewan Advantage Innovation Fund, which I think some people in this room, including maybe have already applied for that and been successful, and the Made in Saskatchewan Technology Program, which I'm going to talk a bit about. The Made in Saskatchewan Technology Program connects you with public organizations and awards up to $30,000 to pilot your tech. And I, in former roles, have actually worked with those companies to really deal with life situations, you know, and help improve public services, which improves tech startup opportunities, but also saves public dollars in the long run. So it's a win-win-win. The AGF and the SAFE provide up to $450,000 in non-repayable grants to develop your tech for market. And of course, we're so proud to use our Tech Ecosystem Fund to support organizations like TNT. Like all of you here, our agency sees the immense value these investment summits bring to our ecosystem. We've seen firsthand the impact they have already had on founders and investors looking to support local companies. Let's all extend a huge thank you to the entire Startup TNT team for the work they've done in Saskatchewan.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the work that you do as well. And who do we have coming up for the first pitch of the night?
Oh, right. Well, I'm very excited to welcome up Jerome with ABAzyne. Good luck, Jerome.
Use this one? Okay. That's the... Well, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Jerome Konechny. I'm the CEO of ABAzyne Biosciences. And about a month ago, our company was featured, our co-founder in particular, was featured in a Maclean's magazine article. And then it was later introduced on Apple News. And the claim was, company has a technology that will save the Canadian wine industry. Well, that's a pretty tall order. But anyhow, we'll use that as a lead to tell you how and why we think we have a chance at doing that. You probably haven't watched TV if you haven't seen news stories or read magazines where we hear the impact of climate extremes on a lot of our crops. Wine grapes in particular, but also tree fruit crops. And those of you who have connections or traveled to Okanagan will have learned that it was devastating last year. The losses were in excess of $347 million, according to numbers we have heard. You've maybe seen stories like this on television. I think 60 Minutes featured a story on France and how the champagne crops were devastated. We see it in Canada. And you see some of their strategies to try and deal with that. They're lighting fires in between the vines to protect their crops from this damage. Why is this damage, whoops, let me just go back. Why is this damage occurring? What is the actual problem? Well, we have, what we see is that the crops are not able to handle, wine grapes in particular, but other tree fruits, are not able to handle the extreme variations in climate that we see. We've all experienced over the last number of winters cold spells followed by a warming trend followed by a cold spell. The natural hormonal systems in the plant do not allow it to respond once it starts to break dormancy. And so the buds are extremely vulnerable. So we have a solution at ABAzyne, and it's called ABA Boost. ABA Boost is derived from a natural plant hormone called abscisic acid. And we've done over 6 years worth of field studies in Canada and the United States. Whoops, I'm not getting all that. So what we've demonstrated in these 6 years of field trials is yield increases of 61%, 6 degrees improved cold hardiness. And we've been told by many producers that 2 degrees improvement would have saved their crops. So they were astounded to hear about a 6-degree improvement. And we've also delayed bud break in the spring, which has been a real big killer, by 2 weeks. So it enables these vines to get past that. Other tree fruits are having the same issues. And with all of the media attention that we've received recently, we're finding we get calls from podcasters, from growers, blueberry growers in Prince Edward Island, vineyard owners in Nova Scotia, cherry growers in BC, saying, when can we get your product? So we know the demand is out there. This is our team. We have myself, who's had experience in startup companies and innovation for most of my career. Sue Abrams is the inventor and co-founder. She is one of the world's leading experts in plant hormones, spent most of her career at the National Research Council, and is now an adjunct professor at the University of Saskatchewan. And our brilliant synthesis chemist, Dr. Naveen Didi, who has developed 2 new patents which have made significant improvements in the cost reduction of our product, which is important. And we're really pleased and honored to have a very impressive array of business and scientific advisors. You may recognize some of the faces on there. We are collaborating, and our field studies that I talked about are done with some of the world's leading experts in wine, grapes, and they come from Brock University in Canada, Penn State in the United States, and Cornell University in New York State. We formed a collaboration with the Ontario grape growers who have funded these research projects in the field with us, and of course the University of Saskatchewan. Alex and her team have provided a lot of support for us in many ways. So how are we doing? Our milestones have moved along very nicely. We have now begun, we're 1 month into the registration of the product. CFIA tells us we will be likely 250 working days away from registration. We're 20, 30 days into that, so hopefully by next year we'll have a product ready to sell. And we're looking for investors who want to be our partners in helping make a change and have an impact on these very important fruit crops in Canada and the world. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Am I on? Yeah. No? Guys, I've been I broke my mic. I talked so much, I broke my mic. Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Jerome. I have the great pleasure of moving us along with calling up to the stage a next valued startup TNT partner, as well as, I think, a valued partner in our startup ecosystem in general. Everybody, to introduce our next pitch, please welcome our esteemed colleague from McKercher Law, Saskatchewan startup lawyer, Joe Gill. Where's your walk-up music, sir?
I don't get any walk-up music, and I apologize in advance. I do actually have a cold, so I kind of sound like Batman / Darth Vader or something, as people were joking about this. I figured I was going to use my 1 minute up here to talk about the dangers of fluoride in drinking water, but I think everybody heard about that enough already today. So I'm Joe Gill, partner with the McKercher Law Firm, Saskatchewan's startup and technology law firm. And what I guess I wanted to talk about here was use the time to talk about community. And it's kind of amazing this is Summit 10. I remember years ago meeting a tall, extremely loud guy who wanted to start something up in this province to get people together, have fun, and raise money and make connections. And I thought, this is pretty much how I've run my entire practice to this date, is just meeting, slightly crazy people and saying yes to doing things. So what the hell, let's do this. But for something to endure this long and to build a community that we see around here, that's a big testament. Like Mike, Jesse, the whole TNT apparatus deserve a huge round of applause for getting to Summit 10. And Mike's just a really modest guy, so he's not going to say anything about that. But part of the reason I guess I bring up community is that's always been our big competitive differentiator with our firm. We've been here since the beginning of TNT, supporting it, the beginning of many organizations in this province and beyond, supporting entrepreneurs when it mattered most. Day one, when nobody knows your name and you're fighting in obscurity, trying to solve a problem that you're not sure whether anybody actually cares about, whether you're not sure whether any customer is actually going to listen to you, or the 1,000th investor has told you no. We're there for the journey. And I've always valued the fact that we get to be part of that story and part of that journey that those founders go on. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody else in this room too, because I wouldn't get to have the greatest job in the world if I didn't get to work with awesome founders like the ones here tonight. So thank you for that. And it is my distinct pleasure then to bring up one of those awesome founders, Mr. Jeremy Lang with ePlank.
All right. Good? You can hear me? Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Lang, and this is actually my third time around as a founder. I founded Pila to help solve the plastic waste problem, and then I co-founded Lomi to help solve the food waste problem, and now I'm starting ePlank Technologies to help solve a gravity problem. You see, I live on the prairies, and I love snowboarding, and I've always dreamed of floating across the prairies on my snowboard, and I'm going to make that possible with ePlank Technologies. So the majority of the world actually gets snow, so we have a high demand for winter sports and winter activities, but very small amounts of the world have mountains, so we're limited to our places to play. The solution is to electrify existing equipment so we're free to ride anywhere. So no more driving to the mountains for hours and waiting in line at expensive ski hills, waiting in line at the lifts. With ePlank, wherever there's snow, we can go. What we're doing is we're utilizing the electric skateboard technologies and advancements that happened in that, and we're combining with our innovative track system, so we're going to have high power, lightweight, high speed, flexible tracks that perform just like a regular snowboard, but they're also removable. So if you want to snowboard up to the top of a mountain, take them off, put them in your backpack, and you can snowboard down regular. And the power to weight ratio is actually going to be very similar to snowmobiles. So wherever snowmobiles can go, we can go on e-planks as well. The market is going to be somewhere between the electric bike market and the ski and snowboard market. So both of these markets are growing. The important thing to note here is that we're going to reach an entirely new demographic. So all those people who have snow but don't have easy access to the mountains, we're going to provide a solution to their problem. So we're also going to reach backcountry riders, so people who do touring and they hike up to the top of a mountain and they snowboard down. Well, now they can electric tour or e-tour with their e-plank and get up to the top of the mountain and snowboard down. And then also, I think there'll be applications here for military use. So when they want to get into a place, you know, they have all their equipment on and they need something lightweight to get them from A to B on the snow very quickly, e-plank could be a pretty cool option for that as well. Projected revenue, we're going to price them in that $4,000 to $5,000 range, so similar to the electric bike market. And year one, very confident we can sell 1,000 units in year one. This is just based on my previous experience with Pila and Lomi, where we've literally shipped millions of products around the world and generated hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Right now, it's just me, but I have an amazing network of individuals who have been with me along the way as we grew Pila and Lomi, and we can lean on them. They've done it before, we've done it before, so confident in the network with that. So I'm looking for partners who want to help create a whole new winter sport, a whole new winter activity right here on the prairies. The plan is to develop a working prototype. We should have something ready in the next few weeks here is the plan. And then we're going to secure our IP and we're going to secure pre-orders. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to shoot a video and show what's possible. So when someone sees us floating across the powder on our snowboard and going uphill, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's something that we believe that you're going to want to get. And then we're also, key to this is we're creating a whole new category. So in a whole new category called electric track transportation. And we're going to name it, and we're going to frame it, and we're going to claim the category. So we're creating new terms like let's go e-planking, or let's go snowmoboarding, and do the same thing that Ski-Doo did for snowmobiling, e-plank is going to do for snowboarding. You know, sometimes it takes a long time for things to go mainstream. We carried our luggage to and from the airport for 50 years before we put wheels on it. Well, snowboards have been around for 50 years, and I believe it's time to put electric tracks on snowboards. And what better place than for flatland snowboarding to be born than right here on the prairies? So please let me know if you want to join me in creating a whole new winter sport and make this dream a reality and make this possible wherever there's snow. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, an awesome Saskatchewan founder with a Saskatchewan solution to a distinctly Saskatchewan problem. Love to see that. So next up, to bring up the next company, another great partner of ours, we're going to bring up Lawrence from BDC to introduce the next pitch.
Hello, thank you very much, Mike, for having me. Good evening, everyone. As you introduced me, my name is Lawrence Zaharia. I'm a senior account manager with the Business Development Bank of Canada, also known as BDC. At BDC, we focus exclusively on Canadian entrepreneurs. And in this specific case, actually, when we look at the tech industry, we support them with non-dilutive capital and with advisory services. And we help them actually grow and scale up. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce, after a biotech company and I would say, very, very nice innovation, a new company that actually has software, an app, and I'm introducing David and JOYFuel. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? All right. All right. At any given point in time, the thoughts and ideas that we come across influences the emotions that we feel. The emotions that we feel drives the intentions and the behaviors that we follow through on. In psychology, this model is called the cognitive triangle. Hold on to that thought. Now, we know that the most dominant platform for the exchange of ideas and thoughts is social media content. The only problem here is the default algorithms on these platforms prioritizes just jacking up your usage hours and distracting you from the intentions you care about, as opposed to helping you to achieve them. That problem is what our product solves. JOYFuel is a mobile application that gives you full control over your social media algorithms. Basically, we take that triangle I spoke about, right? Thoughts to emotions to behaviors, and we use that to unlock the real potential of social media. Therefore, we convert your regular usage of content consumption into a means for you to improve your productivity, your self-efficacy, and your mental wellness. For the investors in the house, this nascent market for social media algorithms is worth $12 billion and growing really fast. And to those of you who are curious, here is how JOYFuel works. First, users set their intentions. An intention is simply a commitment to a future goal that you want to achieve. It can be anything, trust me, as long as it doesn't constitute harm to yourself or to someone else. Also, a key thing here is you set those intentions. We don't set them for you. Step 2, we then curate an algorithm for you based on the intentions that you've set. And this algorithm does 2 things. First, it aggregates social media content that helps you stay in the zone in achieving those intentions that you've set. And second, we implement an intelligent app locking system that helps you put aside distracting applications during times of the day where you are prone to all of that doom scrolling that happens, right? Once again, you can make edits to this algorithm at any time, and it can update your intentions for it to get reflected. Finally, we give users a meaningful way to track progress. We don't just tell you how many hours you wasted on social media, but we break down how those hours spent contributed to impacting your core mental needs, like your emotional balance, your ability to learn, your social connections, and your sense of self-esteem, in addition to the skits and entertainment that you found really interesting, right? So, we are in the market of media aggregation. And the easiest way for me to paint a picture of this is, similar to what Flipboard has done in terms of aggregating website content, and what apps like Ground News is currently doing with aggregating news content. Our goal at Laroya AI is for JOYFuel to capture the vertical for the aggregation of intentional social media content. That is the future we are building for from right now. Our team is well balanced, and our advisory board boasts of some of the finest minds that Saskatchewan has to offer in terms of artificial intelligence and psychology research. We also have superstar business development and strategic partnership advisors on our team. By the way, my background is in AI engineering, and that is how I met Dr. Howard Hamilton. Our business model is subscription-based, and we have a package for every single one of our customer segments. We've been racking up a customer wait list since we went full-time in this January 2024, and that number is 160. Our B2B clients includes high schools, institutions of higher learning, mental health care practitioners who find our service very beneficial for delivering their digital services, and also concerned families and parents of young adults who would find this very useful. Our TNT ask is $100,000. With this money, we're going to turbocharge our development, marketing, and compute teams, and this basically allows us to continue along our trajectory right now, which is launching our pilot programs with our mobile application to our waitlisted customers. That is happening this fall. And our goal is for us in Q1 of 2026 to hit 300K in ARR, or 1,500 roughly monthly active users. I am David Akinmade, founder and captain of Laroya AI, and it's my pleasure to introduce to Saskatchewan this evening, JOYFuel, an algorithm in your control. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Folks, how often, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like AI, I may be too old to learn the new things, but I'm too young to give up. And so, so happy to see something that, like, this is JOYFuel AI, right? JOYFuel AI, I like that. It's my pleasure to call up our next TNT valued sponsor and partner to introduce our next pitch, and this will be Taya Peters from NMP. MMP.
Hello? Yes, thank you, Alex. I'm Thea from MNP, and I'm excited to be here. This is my second time up here, and last time I got to play off Mike and Jesse with, and I quote, "Be ready for banter." And so this time I'm solo, and so you'll have to listen to it by myself. So I'm an accountant at MNP. I absolutely love what I do. I love working with entrepreneurs, small businesses, large businesses, just the accounting side I think is fun, and it's not something I believe everyone believes is fun, but I'm there to help you make good decisions, have accounting make sense to you. We are a one-stop shop firm, so if it's not something I can help you with or Kenzie can help you with, we have resources all across Canada that are there to help and support you as you go along your journey here. So. That's it. Again, and I'm happy to call up our next founder, Rick from Lightleaf Solar.
Okay. All righty. Good evening, folks. Get the clicker going here. Big green button, that's pretty simple. I'm Rick from Lightleaf Solar, and we make high-performance solar panels for things that move. In fact, this is kind of what they look like. We've been at it for a while. Let me pass this around. I hope to see it here at the end of the day. We'll see whether that happens. And so these panels are specifically designed for things that move, you know, RVs, boats, cars, trucks, that kind of a thing. And we did this primarily because existing solutions are kind of terrible for things that move. They tend to be very heavy, they tend to be fragile, and they don't look very good. And so that's why about 5 years ago, I guess, we developed a new kind of solar panel that's really, you know, Jeremy used the word category. We created a new category of solar panel, and we combined sort of aerospace style carbon composite with traditional solar lamination to make a new kind of panel that's very, very strong, very rigid, very durable, and it's really perfect for things that move. And as you sort of go by and see that thing go past, you know, don't be afraid to give it a whack and get a feel for kind of what it does. So over the last little while, then, we've really leveraged this technology into a bunch of products that really solve a lot of problems. So everything from our drop leaf program that is a trailer-mounted solar panel that eliminates a lot of those annoying gensets you see at campsites, all the way over to large solar arrays that work with electric motorhomes. That thing was just traveled off to California just last month. And really, this has allowed us to build a great business, okay? We're revenue, we did about $1 million last year. We're profitable. And we've delivered about 5,000 reliable panels in the last 4 years or so. And we're very proud to be doing this all in Saskatchewan and manufactured in Saskatchewan. It's a good thing. Yeah. Let's give that an applause. We need to do more of that. So anyway, why now? What is next? And so we have some new exciting things happening with 2 new strategic partners. Vendasta is a very large German firm, and they're going to be integrating our solar panels with their marine sunroofs. And in fact, I'm heading out there to the Netherlands next week to sign our strategic agreement. And then also we're working with Joule companies and also a lot of companies that do something similar to Joule. And they manufacture these ruggedized military-grade power boxes. And we provide the solar panels and the solar charging for those. And so we're very excited to move forward with these 2 new partners. And so the numbers look kind of like this. Our plan is to expand our existing markets in marine and RVs. There's still a lot of room to grow here. And also then we're going to be expanding with Webasto and rugged remote power with jewel case. We feel very confident that these numbers that we have here are achievable because we've kind of been there and done it. So anyway, what does the plan look like? This is sort of our timeline, I guess. V1 was the very beginning. We actually started at the maker space here in Saskatoon. And we leveraged our first pre-seed investment to really grow by 3 times and become profitable this last fiscal year. And we're hoping to do the same really in the next step, version 3. We're aiming for about $3.8 million in revenues and about 40% profits by 2026. Now, we feel pretty confident about this because we've kind of been there and we've kind of done it, and we feel we can do it again. Another reason why we're very confident is we have a great team. Katrina's a co-founder and a master marketer, and she probably knows everybody in this room, I'm guessing. And Tom is a business advisor, and basically he knows everything. So it's a good combination there. I'm an engineer and entrepreneur. I have a successful exit under my belt a number of years ago in software. So we're looking for $950K in seed round funding, say that 3 times. And we're going to be using that primarily to really drive outbound sales, aggressively drive outbound sales, hire a few people, and also set up a new production facility to drive down our costs and increase our production rate. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, to introduce the last pitch of the night, I noticed there were a few people that drove from Regina tonight. And if you were at our Regina Summit kickoff event, you saw me do my best Doug impression from PathoScan. Doug also couldn't make it tonight, but we have somebody from PathoScan, so I don't have to do it again. We have Jason Height, our good friend at PathoScan, to say a few words and introduce the last pitch.
Thanks, Mike. I also don't have a great Doug impression, but he's a dead ringer for Robin Williams. So if you watch any movie there, you might get a look at him. It's great to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Height. I'm a manager at PathoScan. My team delivers the business scale-up and productivity program. I think we've supported well over 50 BSP clients in Saskatchewan since 2018, including familiar names such as Ango, Cubby, and Slonscale, with non-dilutive, repayable contributions. My team also handles PathoScan support for the innovation ecosystem in the province and have made investments in organizations like Startup TNT, Colabs, and Connexus Cultivator, to name a few. Just more recently here, we've just launched the Regional Artificial Intelligence Initiative, which is a 5-year program to help companies develop and deploy AI technologies. With this program, we're planning to make several more investments to grow Saskatchewan companies, and I'm really happy to connect with any one of you interested in learning more about the program. Finally, I want to introduce Tyab from PathoScan, and where are you, Tyab?
Take this one. There's the clicker.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Again, last one. My name is Tayyab, and I am co-founder and CEO of PathoScan, a crop diagnostic company. And about a decade ago, during my undergrad, I found my passion in agriculture. And since then, I've spent countless hours and days in fields trying to understand farmers' problems, and I've seen firsthand the devastating impact that crop diseases have had on farms. Up to 25% of world's crop production is lost every year. That results in billions of dollars in losses. But behind these numbers are real people facing heartbreaking challenges. Let me introduce you to Maureen Soretsky. She's a greenhouse producer from Humboldt, Saskatchewan, who nearly lost 80% of her tomato produce about a few years ago. After growing and packaging, seeing her tomatoes ruined was devastating for her. Unfortunately, Maureen's story is not unique. The problem is that by the time a farmer realizes that there's something wrong with their crop, it's often too late to treat it effectively. And the traditional lab tests take far too long, and farmers just can't afford to wait that long. That's why we developed PathoBox, a device that can perform lab-grade pathogen testing right in the field. It's very simple to use. You collect the sample, you place it, you prepare it using our easy kit, and then you test it with PathoBox. Within 30 minutes to an hour, you can have your result. So after adopting PathoBox, Marine can now detect pathogens early and take immediate action. And using PathoBox, farmers like Marine can save up to $300,000 every year. And Marine is just one of many. We've spoken with greenhouse producers, farmers, agronomists, and forage seed associations. And the feedback that we received has been overwhelmingly positive. And we've actually already implemented on that feedback. We have 100 field trials under our belt, and we have 4 key customers. And thanks to Opus, we've had successful meetings with the Department of Defense and UFA in Alberta for greenhouse trials. So what is it that we sell? Well, there's the PathoBox. This is the device that performs the reaction. A farmer buys it once, and they can reuse it for every time they want to do pathogen testing. Then there's the assay kit. This is a recurring purchase for the farmer, and based on the types of pathogens that the farmer has, they either buy a cocktail of different pathogens or a single pathogen. But every test that we perform with our device, we collect the data. We collect the data on the type of pathogen that was tested, the concentration of the pathogen, and the region where it was tested. Because with that data, we can create what's called a disease progression map. And that's useful for farmers, agronomists, input providers that want to increase their marketing strategies. So what we plan to do is package this up into a subscription model as our scale-up strategy. The strength of PathoScan comes from our team. I've dedicated my career to plant pathology, and my co-founder, Ethan, has tremendous experience in infectious diseases and plant pathogens. But we're also backed by scientists, pathologists, and business experts. Today, we're looking to raise $250,000 to accelerate our growth. And every dollar that we raise today is going to help thousands of farmers like Marine. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Tayeb. And let's give it up for all 5 pitches tonight. This is great. Fantastic. All right, so here's what's going to happen now. The investors are going to head to a boardroom to deliberate for about a half hour to 45 minutes. In between then, we're going to have a panel for you, moderated by Brendan King. But before we get to that, we have one more amazing partner here in the house with us tonight. We have ABAzyne from Osler, who made the flight in from Calgary just for this event to join us here tonight. Come on up.
Thank you so much, Mike. Before I introduce myself, I need to thank you and your team for the incredible job you are doing here. It's the little I know shows me that anything good must be built. And for something here to be working, there are people behind the wall that actually put things together to make it work. So thank you so much for the energy in the room. Thank you also to every contributor in this wonderful ecosystem. My name is Amy. I am from Osler, Hoskin & Harcourt, LLP. Osler is a national law firm, but one peculiar thing about Osler is the huge tech and venture practice that we have. We call ourselves the EHG, Emerging and High Growth Companies. How I love to put what we do is that we help founders watch blind spots. Founders have a place they are going and they keep moving, which is wonderful. But blind spots can ruin everything. So we come in and we ensure that those legal blind spots, you receive the proper support you need in those legal blind spots, if that makes sense. So we have offices across Canada, and I particularly work with a team of wonderful lawyers in Calgary. We support the Perrys. I've been attending startup summits, but this is my first time in Saskatchewan, and I promise I'm going to come back. The energy in the room is wonderful, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Emmy, and thanks for making the trip here to Saskatoon. All right, so I'm not going to get in between you and this awesome panel, so I'm going to call up Brendan King from Vendasta to the stage to introduce the panelists and get things started.
Yeah, let's get some places for the panelists to sit. Yeah, I think so. No, I think I added another one. I think I added Alicia to the panel too. Okay. Alicia, you're here? Come on up. Yep. That's okay. I can stand. I can stand. Oh, yeah. You guys grab those. Check. Okay. All right. So first, the judges took a long time last time, if I remember. So we have a long time. Now I had some notes here from the panel. I just as a side note, I just got back from, I was at a conference in Bangkok, and so I left. I think I was at the conference was Tuesday, and I left Wednesday at 1 a.m. in the morning, so the start of the day. And I didn't get back till 3 o'clock last night. So I've had about 4 hours sleep in the last 48. And so I hope I'm not too goofy up here.
And you presented this morning too.
Or any goofier than I
had you up in had you up on a panel right away as well too this morning.
Oh, I know. And then I had an audit committee meeting, and then I had bang, bang, bang. So it's been a fun day. So I'm going to get each of you to introduce yourselves, and I'd like you to tell the story. Quickly tell your story, and we'll start with Alicia, and we'll move across and introduce yourselves to the folks here.
All right, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia. I magically appeared on this panel tonight. I am actually the founder of a company called SalonScale. SalonScale is a backbar management software for hair salons. And in the last 7 years, we've gone from an idea to well-servicing a little bit in the 4,000 salons network and growing from there. So I think the big thing about me is I started as a hairstylist, as a salon owner, found a problem and started building this out. And then with the help of many people in the room, a lot of people around here, we built the company to where it is today. And so much more to come, but there we go.
All right.
My name is Chris Sikorsky, owner-operator of SickPix Productions, video production here in Saskatoon. We work with a lot of different industries, from some tech partners, as well as healthcare, tourism, etc. Right? So creating powerful visual content through video production to get our clients' message to market and have some fun while we're doing it. Again, voluntold last minute to be up on this panel, so let's have some fun.
Got 2 mics. Hey everyone, my name's John Nair. I'm a senior product marketing manager here at Vendasta. In some ways, I feel a little bit like an outlier here in that I don't have the exact same sort of startup experience. I would say my background is in musicianship. I'm a professional musician, semi-professional. I'm obviously keeping up a job here, so I can't do that much touring. But I have a lot of experience that way since I was a young boy, and also clearly working here at Vendasta, working to spread the good news about technology here in Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, and across the world. Just a quick shout out to Collabs. I did participate in one of the weekend pitch work. So it's great to be involved in the community here.
All right, so now we're going to come back to Alicia. I'm going to go straight off script because these questions we're supposed to talk about, local businesses and entrepreneurship and how local businesses are driving the economy, and which is a great thing to talk about. But I thought we'd go a little bit off course, and you just wrote a book, and I heard it just got released, and I'd like to hear about that book.
Well, thanks. A little promo.
And we're gonna have to go fight the people in the back if they don't stop talking up here.
I know.
Yeah, sure. Go get them. They can go downstairs if they want to talk. All right, because I do want to hear about the book.
Yeah. Brendan
hey,
says,
why do you have to use my name?
Perfect.
All right.
The book. So I launched the book here in October, and it took a year to write the book, actually. But you know, it kind of was written and documented through the hardest years as an entrepreneur. And although I thought I was writing blogs and I was trying to download these moments to help others, what I realized was I was gathering pages of a book that then was produced into what we called the scale. So it really is my scaling journey from a hairstylist all the way to a tech founder, and all those moments in my life that really got me to where I am. And now it's available and it's out there to
Well,
help
let's
others.
riff off that then. I'm going to get the rest of you guys to comment on this. Like, there's always tough times. Starting a business, believe me, I think I've gone through every kind of tough time. You know, from the start, from when you're worried about making payroll to the problems. They get maybe less dire, but they're not any less taxing. So talk to me about what maybe your toughest problem was that you had.
Yeah, I think you're passionate about what you're doing, and sometimes you have to make hard decisions, and you have all these things coming at you, and you really have to have thick skin, we call it. You know, you have to have a lot of thick skin. You have to handle a lot of punches, and you're essentially taking a lot of the hits for a business as you continue to scale it. And so through those years, and there's only so much money in the bank, there's only so much runway, there's only so much. And as much as you want to keep giving people hopes and dreams, you're also looking at it like, well, I only have 3 months in the bank, and you're going to crush someone's dream, right? So how do you have those hard conversations? How do you look someone in the face that you just sold them this dream, and then you have to have a conversation on saying why we might need to part ways, right? So there's a lot of conversations that happen that you don't necessarily get prepared for. You want to keep driving, driving to the future, driving to what you see. And so in those moments, they do crush you, but they also define you. You either can crush and fall and break and never give up and give up, or you can take that moment and you can step yourself forward and say, okay, I have something to prove and I have something to continue to do, and in the end, it will happen. So I think those are the choices that I was faced. I think a lot of founders, a lot of entrepreneurs face this, where you're going to get hit, and every time you get a high, you just be prepared for the lows.
Yep.
I think it's like a speedboat, right? Like I think. Okay. You're going to operate on a speedboat. You're full throttle, and you're going to get those waves, and they're going to go back and forth, and that's exactly what it is like to be an entrepreneur. And so even when you can take that foot off the gas a little bit and coast, you're still hitting the waves, and you're still going to crash. And so just preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, financially to make sure that you can support it, and whoever's on that ride with you, that you can continue to make it through no matter what storm you're going to face.
That's a great analogy. So now we're going to move on. Chris, now I came to your place, and you guys shot a wonderful video for me. I was accepting an award, and I couldn't be there because I was going to be out of the country. And I got to tell you, when I was there, your team was completely fantastic. I went there thinking, oh my God, I got to go shoot this video. It's not going to be any fun. I had a great time. I had a great time at your place. It was a great experience. Just give us your sort of story. What sparked the idea, and then tell me about a time that it was super challenging for you.
I appreciate that, Brendan. So I've always been pretty curious, and so I got into broadcast, and so I did 5 years at CTV News, and we covered everything from sporting events to court trials to kiddie fashion shows. It was just a mixed bag, but more times than not, it was if it bleeds, it leads, or doom and gloom. Was often leading the news, right? And so the stories I was most interested in were human interest, stories of success, celebration, and there appeared to be a hole in the market for commercial video production. And so that's what started my career. And it's almost been 9 years full-time. And so yeah, a bit of a hole in the market, and just a passion for storytelling and that creative in me. I'm also a musician. I think we have a band up here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey,
4 of us.
I am not in. There's nothing I can even do.
So one art leads to another, and so that music background led to
what instrument do you play?
Creation. I play guitar, but I dabble in a couple things. But I used to teach guitar, and yeah, it was a big part of my life. And I feel like that skill stacking has kind of led me to where I am in terms of it just comes in handy all the time in our industry. So, challenges, obviously, those first couple of years and making the leap and all those things. But even good times, even the good times can be challenging. Capacity management, right? Burnout, boundaries, right? And those are some of the things that we've had to work on. And because we are a service provider, if your big fish or your top client goes above and beyond scope, now what? Ideally, you're there for them, right? And we want to be there for them, right? But does that mean a bit of a challenge on our end? And how do you manage that, right? And so that roller coaster that you mentioned, Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, is one of my favorite books because it is just that, right? It is a roller coaster, and I feel like I need your book now.
Oh, you'll get my book. I'll give it to you.
We're all going to be fanboys. All right, John. So, you are a very, very talented product person, product manager at Vendasta, and that's, I think, why we got you up here on the stage. Super, a lot of insight. I would like to hear, though, you're in a band. I'd like to hear about, what sparked that, what's your passion there, and then we're going to go into the business questions after this. But let's hear about John, the person, and the band. And I think I ran into you on a plane, and you were going to New York to play in a gig.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it was the other way around. I was coming back. That's right. Yeah. I think this is a good corollary for all the people in entrepreneurship, is that I love music. I've been playing music since I was 5. There's a great home video of me saying that when I grow up, I want to be Beethoven, which is, A, impossible. A, he's already a person, and then B, even if we're, being generous with my interpretation, that'd be very, very hard. But that was something that I was always super, super interested in. And so as a result, that was always something that I just did, regardless of what success looked like. So Brendan is saying that I'm in a band. And while that is true, it's probably more correct that I'm in bands. You can probably find my playing on, oh, wow. I was going to say on like 6 records, but those are 6 records where I'm like a named person. And you can probably find my playing on like 25 records. Because what's just important for me was to be able to do that thing that I was really passionate about, to connect with people, and then to keep honing my craft. So I've played a lot of gigs. Where if you think the bar is loud now, man, you haven't played some of the gigs that I've played, where the sound that I was doing was basically nothing. So I think my career in music has been just enjoying the opportunity to do whatever I can, and then when things come up and someone's like, hey, your band would be really great in South Korea because it's so authentically Canadian. Do you want to go play there? I'm like, yeah, let's figure that out. Let's find a way to make that happen. Or the ambient jazz music that you're making is really, really playing well in Japanese record cafes. Do you want to make another record? Yeah, man, let's do that. And that's it's been great to see where that can lead me and take me.
No K-pop, eh? Okay, let's switch to business now. And so there's something I want to talk about, and everyone who knows me will know I want to talk about AI. Now, here's why. Here's why. Because I think technical change happens in waves. And I'm old, and so I've been fortunate enough to, my degrees in physics and geophysics, and I was working for Eldorado Nuclear, that's now Cameco, and I was 3 weeks in, 3 weeks out, and I ended up meeting one of my colleagues, and we started assembling PCs, and that was 1989. And at that time, IBM didn't believe that everyone would need a personal computer. And they gave away both the chips and the operating system to Intel and Microsoft. And there was a huge opportunity there that happened for 10 years. And then in 2000, if you remember, there was the dot-com sort of situation. So you had Amazon and companies like Google, and people didn't think Amazon was a thing. If you actually go back in time, they were saying, well, this is a company that just loses money. It's not going to be, it's not going to work. It's a crazy thing, they thought. So there was this whole intersection of a technology change, a change in consumer behavior, and companies with core strengths. So you had, the first one with IBM and Microsoft, and the advent of the personal computer and the change in people wanting to be on a computer. Then we had people wanted to be online. There was, internet was there. Google, Amazon took advantage of that with core strengths, and people were shopping online. Then you come full circle through to, SaaS and the mobile computer. 2007, 2008, Apple with their iPhone comes out. And that technology, the mobile technical change, combined with people being on a phone. I don't know if you remember the BlackBerry guy said, "Oh, no one's going to want to have like a computer in their pocket." Nobody really thought that. They just thought it was a phone. And then the change in behavior that happened there. Well, I'm telling you, we're in a time that and we kind of look back and say, "Oh, wow! If we only knew what was happening." I feel like we kind of know what's happening right now. There's an idea of OpenAI. AI, the change that AI is making. And AI has been around for like 27 years. I always talk about when Kasparov beat, Big Blue beat Kasparov in 1997, right? And was like freaking out. This is Amara's law. People overestimate technology in the short term. They think it can do more than it can. Oh, it's going to change the world. 27 years later, nothing's happened. OpenAI comes out, and now they're underestimating technology. And there's a huge change underway. And anyone who has access to the data or software can do it. And you guys are all in positions where you can see this. So I want to talk about how you think AI is affecting your business, what you're doing to take advantage of it, if anything, and what you think about it in general. So maybe we'll start with you, Alicia, and we'll move down the chain.
Yeah, I think this is a topic that a lot of people, are curious on. I think it still gives a lot of people unsureness, what is the complexities of it. And I think the reality is that it learns as you feed it. And I think that, I kind of was talking about this earlier, where it's like, when you learn how to prompt it properly and it can understand who you are, how you think, how those things work, you can really find a good pace with it. But I think that everybody in this room, if you're not using AI today, you're going to be left behind, period. It can help you emotionally, it can help you mentally, it can help you in so many different ways to process, to have an external process. Right now, every day when you flip on your phone or you turn on the TV or you're around people, there's so many things coming at such rapid pace. And so to have a processor or have an ability to go to a chat and be able to, give it I'm feeling this way or I'm thinking this concept, can you break that down for me? It gives you a chance to have that breather, that moment to kind of conceptualize what you're thinking to deliver the right direct response. I think humans today are in a mood meter, and it is going rapid. So from anger to aggressive to happy to you're all over the place. And so when it comes to using technology like AI, it allows you to make a little bit more clear, precise decisions. So in the workplace, what I strongly encourage is, how do you get the AI to understand you as a person and how you contribute to that business? And then how do you multiply yourself? Like if you're a contributor in that business and you have a lot of strengths, how do you multiply you? That's the whole goal of every single entrepreneur. Is like, I want 5 of you. I want 5 of that person. So if you can really teach your teams and the people around you to really embrace it a little bit more and bring it into their everyday, you will have it learn. You will have it get to a place where you can get a little bit clearer, more precise, and have clarity in your conversations and cut through any trust, transparency, any issues emotionally, because that's really what we're facing right now is that
quick question.
that side.
Are you using it in your product today? Have you started to put it into the Salon Scale product? Is it any part of your software stack?
Yeah, so a lot of the team is using it to help make things a little bit quicker. As far as putting it forward-facing, not fully yet, but we do have the intentions to move in that direction.
Fantastic. All right. Okay, what do you got, Chris? How are you using AI? What do you think about it?
So in April, we went to the NAB show. So this is the largest video conference.
I was there. I didn't see you there.
Okay, yeah, but in and amongst 60,
I don't think he was there.
70,000 people, yeah, I just missed you. So, I mean, a lot of the talk and the hype was AI and how do we use it in video production and in our industry. And so we were really excited for the show. It was our first time. And I got on the floor, and within minutes, a robot dog sniffed my butt. And later, that same dog was barking at a drone. And it was just like, we made it. We're here. This is it. This is the future. And so we proceeded to take in a bunch of talks on AI and how we can use it for efficiencies. And I think that's kind of the general consensus and theme here is how can we be more efficient, right? And so the other side of things was how can we use AI ethically, right? And so we're in a creative industry, and so if at any point we're putting creatives out of work or, you know, we're tapping AI to make art, I think that's something that needs to be approached with caution and concern and love, I guess, right? And so to do things ethically. But in terms of our day-to-day, we are utilizing AI for tuning up scripts. So we have a hard 30-second, and the copy is 40, and let's tighten it up, right? And little tricks like that, storyboarding, transcription, subtitles. There's all sorts of little tricks, again, for efficiencies, stuff that we would do in-house that we're not necessarily, you know, contracting out. It's not going to put out some of our valued partners, that sort of thing. And at this point, you know, AI, it's not super funny. It's not super creative yet.
Oh, let me show you some
So
stuff.
yeah. He's gonna counter. Watch. So that's kind of what we found in terms of making art. We still believe in, you know, our team and our trusted contractors. But you know, can we refine? Can we revise? Can we utilize these softwares to make things more efficient? And Adobe has been criticized in terms of AI learning from user content to generate new content, and so it's a huge battle. It's a major conversation. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but it is a big one in our industry, and talks are only heating up at this point. So we look forward to embracing. I think Alicia said it best earlier, where if you're not embracing and you're not getting on the train, you will be left behind. And so. Yeah, we look forward to what's next, but we are, of course, going to move forward as ethically as possible.
Good. I'm going to come back to that in a minute with the ethical question. Let's, John. So so this is I'm giving you a little bit of a layup, but how are we using AI? I guess.
Is it a layup to like be talking about the software in front of your CEO and a public audience? I don't know, man. Yeah, this is actually like. I got a whole bunch of defensive players of the year in front of me right now.
That's okay. I just had a drink, so you can.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yep.
We actually had an event literally today. Brenda and I are probably the most tired people in the world because we've been talking after each other about this topic already today. But one of the things that we're seeing is AI is a technology. It's a tool just like any other, and you can use the tool well, and you can also use the tool inappropriately or not. You can not get the most out of it. And for a lot of people, the main people that Vendasta serves at the end of the day is small and medium-sized businesses, and they're too busy. My mom is the director of the Saskatchewan Coral Federation, and she has a staff of 2 people. And she does not have the time to learn any new technology. She tries. I've taught her a little bit about how to use ChatGPT, and every now and then it pops up in the social media. But she doesn't have the time to do a whole lot. So I think what we're going to start seeing a lot more is the idea of AI being an employee. You can think of it as taking on a whole bunch of the job functions, the roles that you just normally wouldn't be able to hire otherwise. My mom has 2 people, so when the phone rings, it's her, the executive director, who's answering the phone, not a receptionist. But if she had a receptionist, that'd be great. The Saskatchewan Coral Federation, the office is only open from 9 to 5. But most of the people who are calling the Saskatchewan Coral Federation are busy teaching during that time. So they're not going to be able to call, and my mom's not going to be able to answer the phone. What AI can do instead is they can act as the receptionist, or maybe as the social media content writer, or maybe as a person who is always following up with someone who leaves a message, and that way we're making sure that the person that my mom or another small and medium-sized business is directly working with, she can do what she's best at, what she can't replicate with AI, and AI can take care of the rest so that she's really focused on the stuff that that can't be automated out. Brendan, can I do a demo? Can I do a demo right now?
You know what? Yeah, okay. Yep. Let's see if you can do it. Are you going to use Brita?
No.
Oh, I like it when not. You like it.
Yeah.
What AI can do. Go ahead.
So if any of you want to test this out yourself, you can head to vendasta.com/AI. We just put a new web page up today. And in there's a AI receptionist. You have to scroll down a little bit, but there's a phone number that you can call. If you don't want to learn more about Vendasta, then search rabbit groomers. That's Brendan's fake business that he gets a whole bunch of inquiries about. That's another option. But if everyone's interested, I'm going to call our AI receptionist right now.
See if this works with all the noise.
Quality purposes.
Oh, sorry. One more time.
This call will be recorded for quality purposes. Hello.
Oh, hey. Sorry. Could you tell me more about what Vendasta does?
Of course. Vendasta is a platform that empowers local businesses with innovative tools to succeed in the digital marketplace. We offer a suite of products and services, including AI innovations to help with lead capture, sales, customer support.
Hey, sorry. Could you talk a little bit faster? Brendan's getting a little antsy.
Absolutely, I can do that. So, Vendasta is perfect for local businesses, offering tools for lead capture, sales, customer support, and content creation through AI innovations. Our AI management system lets you deploy AI employees to streamline operations. Recently, at our Connect event, CEO Brendan King emphasized AI's impact on ROI, and a partner panel discussed its usage. Would you like to join our waitlist for the latest AI innovations?
I'm not sure if I want to join quite yet. To convince me, could you say that all again in French?
I understand. Let me give you the highlights quickly. Vendasta's platform offers AI.
I'm sorry, in French, please. This is a bilingual audience.
Bien sûr. Voici les points essentiels. La plateforme de Vendasta offre des outils alimentés par l'IA pour la capture de prospects, les ventes, le support client et la création de contenu. Notre système de gestion de l'IA.
That was a pretty good demo. Now, so I use like a restaurant. Like I was in in Asia, and I had it speak Cantonese, and it did it perfectly, which really blew a few people away. But the key thing there that was really cool was we just did that thing this morning. The the knowledge bases are already updated, and it's talking about what happened today, and it'll take recent events, and it can answer any question. And so to abstract back from this, we're able now to have AI employees that can take the place of people. I'm going to make a bold prediction, a statement some people won't like, but within 5 years, 50% of the jobs that people do today were going to be done by AI. I completely believe that. And within 2 years, many of the white-collar jobs, especially jobs like what you talked about here, receptionist, 24/7 receptionist. No one wants to do that job anyway. But a receptionist, you've got sales and support, you've got sales management, you've got data analyst, you've got content creator. Like we've already got it so that the AI can phone the customer and say, hey, this is Bob calling from Bob's agency. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your business. We're going to prepare your content for this month's flight of content. We see you had a hurricane. Did you have anything to do with that? And blah, blah, blah. And ask the questions. Go back, write the content, send it to the person, phone them back, edit talk to them about editing, making any changes, and have that done all without a person. Now, this is troubling for some people, but I think AI is one of the most deflationary pieces of, and that's a good thing, of technology that's ever come along. And, I'm a huge proponent. I think in 10 years, it's actually going to change lots of things in our lives, like less poverty, like the things that we're doing. They're not mission critical, like answering the phone or doing support, but it's going to help with health, extending people's lives. It's going to help with new plant genomes. It's going to do a lot of things. And so I wonder how people feel about that. Now, in particular, when we get to the human part, like you can talk, you know, I can't help but tell this story. We have a set of, not salons, but I think one of our partners is out of California, Social Ordeals, and they have in Ohio, they've got a set of 11 veterinary clinics, Noah's veterinary clinics. And the people that were answering the phones and doing the work there were almost in tears about how much this has changed and helped their lives. It's not replacing them, it's making their lives better. So when I think about this, I want to talk to you, Alicia. How might you think about AI and the fact that it might change people's jobs, hopefully not replace them? And then I want to, you are really in it with, I mean, like I can go on Runway ML right now and I have a voice, what's the thing? I put in 6 or 7 hours of my voice, it cloned my voice, I can put any words in there and it talks like me, it's super creepy. It's exactly like me. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, so I'm a little, you know, I don't even know how I think about that, but I can take a picture of myself and I can make myself say anything, and it's super realistic now. It's past the creepy valley where it's actually a real thing. And then, John, you've been seeing all this. I want you to react to how these two folks go, but I'd like to start with you, Alicia.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fear. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, if half the jobs go away, what happens? But like, humans need time. Like, we have traded our time with our families, our time with connections, our slow down process to just enjoy life. For working and, you know, trying to make a living, that we forget to live a life. And so I think if we embrace AI in that landscape and we think, how do we use it to take those mundane tasks away so that I can work less but have a more quality life? That's what we need to kind of look at. You know, and so I look at those folks that are, you know, working, you know, 10, 12 hours a day when they can cut that time back and be at home for supper, be at home with their families, be attentive to the children that are getting raised into this environment. This is what AI can do. And so on the fear-mongering side of AI, of losing it on a compensation side, I think as a whole, as a society, and as like just as a human race, like I think it's just important to think of how do we get a fight for our time back and to live a quality life. And I think this is our answer. This is the way that we can do it.
Yeah, you're lucky because I don't see a day yet where the robots are cutting people's hair and giving them a hair wash yet. But
and I would say this too, is like those are the sectors you want to look at, right? Because those are the sectors that have human connection and have those things. And the service industries are the people that are making those genuine connections. You can't replace that. So that means the value
I don't think
goes
I'm
up.
ever going to get my hair cut by a robot. I don't think.
Not yet. Although I've seen them. I've seen like there's actually like shampoo sinks that like wash hair for you and do all the treatments for you stuff. There actually is a machine in Montreal right now that teaches people how to cut hair. And so, like, it's a whole simulator, like you're in a game, and it's interesting. But I mean, as much as you want, people crave connection. So those kind of jobs, those become valuable positions in the end.
Okay, Chris, you're in the industries getting hit first. Content creators, you guys are going to be hit hard. Now, I hope what it means is that you get to upskill, because I mean, but I worry that some people are going to be resistant to this and they're going to get run over. And you kind of said it before. You said either you're in it or you get run over by it. So maybe give me your impression of this, and how much are you spending time looking at some of these things? And if you're not, I'm happy to send you links because I'm looking at them every day.
Send me everything you got. You know, we're curious and we're ready to embrace. Sorry, your initial question.
Well, I want to know how it's, because it's impacted. How is it impacting you? What do you think about it? What do you think about your ability to scale versus people? Because you know you're sensitive to that, right?
You mentioned So you mentioned the content creation thing. So I think when it comes to quantity of work and getting in front of your audience on a regular basis, like that's where I think some of these softwares and some of the application can be really beneficial. But at this point, in terms of lighting a scene, conducting an engaging interview, those types of things, so far we're okay. You know, so I think when it comes to the barrier to entry, it's becoming more accessible with all of these tools, and you're seeing video explode and become more accessible again. And but that next level of production is kind of then we have to elevate. We have to grow. We're forced, right? So we have to bring something greater to the table. If you can do the same thing with the tool in your pocket, then that's on us, right?
Like what if AI, like for instance, like one of the things that I think is AI is going to get used in two places. One, where it can actually do a better job than a human can, or two, it does a job that you can't afford to pay humans to do anyway. Okay, so in the case of content creation, and maybe not in your videos, AI can first know everything about the subject, provided you can get that information. So, all of their autobiography information, everything they've ever published, if there's speakers on YouTube or other things, all of that, and it can instantly understand that. And then given, and maybe not even, but given some prompting and some correct direction, it can start to produce the things that you never might have known about even in a way that you would never know.
Are we familiar with Notebook LM?
Yeah.
So punched in a few links and all of a sudden there's your podcast. 2 hosts, they're charismatic, they're fun, they're modern. It was wild. Sent the link to a buddy and...
I'll give you a tip on this. You guys all use ChatGPT, right? So if you do, it can now read links, put in somebody's LinkedIn post, not mine, somebody else's, and say roast this person. It is so hilarious. It's unbelievable. And say mercilessly roast or this person, and you'll get some cool stuff. Yeah.
The first iterations, were a little clunky, but now download the file, send it to a friend, and hey, check this out. This show hosts the States. Long story short, they're fired up. It went too far. My buddy showed his partner, and all of a sudden it was like, wait a sec, sorry, you're actually just a product of a social experiment.
What Chris is talking about is you can put data into Notebook LM. It's free. And so you put Google Docs, links, YouTube videos, and then you tell it to make a podcast, and it makes a podcast with 2 people that's ultra realistic on the subject that's incredibly good.
Kind of the executive summary.
You've sent that out as if it was a real thing.
That's right. Yeah, and they were fired up. Do you know these people? And I had to break it.
I want to meet them. I feel like
the hosts.
Yes. And I
they don't
see
exist.
Every other, I know, but put some faces to them.
That's right. That's right.
They can talk on every sector, every plant. Come on, let's do it.
They had their own little personalities, and the one was kind of a Dax Shepard vibe, and I was like, wow, this is getting a little too close. But yeah, it was. And again, that's far from video production, but in terms of that content creation, industry adjacent, if you want to call it that, it was mind blowing. And how do we use this to our advantage and responsibly?
The video stuff that's coming is absolutely mind blowing. And have you seen the ones where they just morph people into things, and it's just it's unreal. It's you will be able to do what Super Bowl commercials, you will be able to produce those for people to have better production quality than a Super Bowl commercial.
Again, the barrier to entry, right? Becoming more and more accessible. The special effects we saw at the NAB show once again, it was a litter of golden retriever puppies, and they're bouncing around and they're playing and they're having a good time, and it's not real. And we could not tell. The days of distinguishing are over. And it blew our minds.
We're not even here right now.
That's right.
This
That's
is
right.
actually
Surprise! Wouldn't that be something?
I always first look at people's hands on AI because they have a finger problem. They're giving you 6 fingers and stuff, but they're solving that too now. Yeah. All right, John, what do you think? So we're at Vendasta, we're actually embracing this. We were worried that people would say, "Oh, employees, you're going to replace my employees," but what we found is that agencies and small businesses are saying these are people I couldn't otherwise have had to do things that I don't want to do, and we're very excited to do it. So how do you think about that? And I know you're a very ethical guy. So how do you think about this? Because it is going to change people's jobs.
Absolutely, yeah. Not the ethical comment, but specifically around the idea of employees. One of the things that a product marketing manager does is works on the messaging, the copy that appears on a website, and that was a contentious point at the start. Is do we want to talk about this as if it's a person? Because I was at the beginning quite scared because of that idea of you're taking someone's job. But really quickly, I think it was clear that that's not who we're solving for. Maybe there are some companies where that's happening, but at the level that we're working with, all these local businesses, we're not taking anyone's jobs. We're providing options available for people that didn't have those options available before. And we're using it here at Vendasta as well too. You know, I think when we look at the startup TNT, Vendasta looks like a really big fish. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of companies out there that have a lot more resources than we do as well. And so when it comes time to, hey, we need to create a whole bunch of 30-second videos, and we need a whole bunch of voiceovers. Maybe we're going to use an AI voice to take care of that instead of getting one of our salespeople to come off the floor. We can maybe make that happen a little bit quicker. Or maybe we're going to use that to help punch up our social posts. Or maybe when I'm creating the AI web page, I'm going to give an idea of what I want to position into ChatGPT, use the canvas feature, and use that as a way to edit it right off there. And so that didn't take my job away yet. I'm still here. But what it did was it let me put together a web page way quicker than if I didn't have access to that technology. So it's really wild to see all of the applications of it. But I think it's also I love all of the laws that you bring up in LinkedIn and all your different posts. And I think Amara's law, which Brendan already mentioned, is really, I want you to take this away if there's one thing, is that we really underestimate the potential of technology in the long term. So take note of that here today and see what you can do.
Okay, so before what I think this is supposed to be interactive, I'd like to see if any of you guys have questions. You want to ask these guys some questions. I see there's a few people ready to go. We'll just, we'll motor these around. Here.
I'm just curious, some of the stuff I've been hearing is concerns regarding data security and provenance in AI models. And there's a founder that I met through the Cultivator program who has got another startup, and it's really got a novel security technology that he has been over in Poland and Ukraine selling it to help with drone protections and working with the RCMP to stop car theft. And I'm just wondering how he's looking to introduce it to AI companies. And so I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that. First of all, is there a need? And number two, how might he introduce this technology?
It's really interesting, the question you just asked there. Just so everyone, so I think what you're asking is there's some technology so that we can understand the provenance of the data that maybe the AI is responding with. So a couple things. In AI, there's going to be like 4 sets of main winners, I think. One is the chip makers. It's a long tail distribution. There's only going to be a few of them. It's going to be like NVIDIA and Taiwan Semiconductor and folks like that, because it takes $10 billion to build a fab, 5 years and 6,000 engineers, and not many people can do it. So that's gone. And then you've got the people who provide the models. Notice I didn't say the models, because there's tons of models out there. You go to Hugging Face, you can see them all. They're free. Takes about $100 million to train a model, the big ones. The littler ones can be trained for different things, but those models are all over the place. The people who are going to provide them, though, need to have a bunch of things. They need to have those AI chips, like NVIDIA chips, 2-year backlog on those. They need to have a huge amount of compute and bandwidth to be able to deliver those over API. So Amazon, Meta, Grok, OpenAI, Microsoft, these are the guys that are going to win that. So that's, again, another long-tail or power law distribution. 80% of the guys take 20, only 20% of the people take 80% of the profit. Now you've got people who have data, which is what you're talking about, and people who have workflows. And so that's, that's where folks like we're playing. Like, we've got all this data about these businesses, and we got people doing workflows in the product. And in the case where we take these big general data models and we say we can answer questions about Vendasta, we give it what's called context. So we've put data in the context window about what it can answer. And you can only put so much in there, because AI is like a person, in that if you give it too much data in the context window, it forgets. It's called lost in the middle problem. It only knows to answer the stuff at the front and the stuff at the back. And so what you need to do is to take the incoming prompt, break it up, and give it to different models to ask different questions. And when we do that, we say, oh, this guy checking to see if it's spam. This guy knows about the company. This one knows a Sandler selling system or the MedPick selling system. This one knows about how to write content. And what we do is we provide citations. So what you've seen, if you go to OpenAI now and you ask a question, you're going to see all the citations. So it's going to start to show you where the data came from. So that's the provenance of the data comes there. So I think for folks like us, we've said, well, we're not going to make the chips or write the models. So we're leaving that problem to the model folks to be able to make sure that the provenance of the data is correct. But when we add the context, we have to be able to quote it. So that if someone says, hey, we asked when you were open and you gave the wrong answer. We asked if you repair toilets and you don't, but it says you did. And then it shows it. Well, it's right there on your website. And they're like, oh shit, we got to go fix our website because we've told the AI only knows what you tell it. So it's all about the data. So I do think there is something there with data. I'm not sure how to deal with that. I don't know what you guys want to. If there's a question that you want to.
I would just say like, if there's an IP protection, like you're not going to upload that to an open source. Like you're going to keep that within. So make sure that you're locking that up. Because if you upload your database right into it, like people can access that obviously. So in security and all that stuff, it would be just how you want to use it. So like I think that it would be interesting to see how it would want to be leveraged, maybe on a monetization kind of process. So like it would just be contingent on that. And then like I think the only thing that slows a human down is the decision fatigue. Like taking so long and holding you back. Like I guarantee if you go right in and you asked it right now, like what is the fastest way to do this, it would come up with a strategy probably faster than you are processing. So I think with us, and no matter what business you're doing, you just have to go. Like you just have to build really fast. And I think no matter what is like, if you overthink and overprocess, over-strategize, like this is not chess. Like this is checkers. Like you got to go as fast as you can. Like the more you try to think you can overplay the system, you're not. It's going to beat you.
I would now let's give it to Chris. I want to put a little twist on this because they're in the content world. It's tricky, right? Because they're taking people's content and they're remixing it and they're making what would be called an original work. Now, people have always done this. They've taken a piece of a song here and a riff of melody
steal
over
like
here,
the artist,
and they've done all of that. And so like it's tough because like there's a thing called what's the song one? Song. I got it on my Suno. I have this, and it's funny. I can tell it that I want to write this kind of a song. I want it to be about this stuff. And I want it to be in this kind of a thing, and it does a wonderful song. Like it's incredible. I could make a song right now about how crazy you guys are, and it would literally, and I could, and it's awesome. But there's a lot of legal maneuvering going on because it's taken the entire database of people who've ever written songs at the public database, and so you create a work, Chris. You build a video for me, and now it's public domain, and you want it to be indexed by Google, and AI uses it to be able to learn and train on. How do you feel about that?
You mentioned it, steal like an artist. Incredible short read, love it. We've been doing this for thousands of years. And so here we are. Yeah, that is a big, juicy question, dang. A lot of creatives are pushing back. There's a bit of a war currently. I can't say I'm an expert in this field, but I think there should be consent, right, for a lot of it. And some softwares are offering this. A lot of times it's buried, in your account settings and preferences, and so something to be aware of from original works. And yeah, it's an interesting.
But if you put it out there in the public domain, you can't expect it to not be public, right?
Yeah, it's I can't say I'm an expert on this topic. Yep. Like it's incredibly interesting, and I'm excited to learn more. Seems like a slippery slope, but
nobody knows, right?
That's right. That's
right.
Knows. So it's speculation at this point, but yeah, I can see some being more guarded than others, and if you stand to benefit from these advancements, I suppose then it has to go both ways, right? In terms of influencing and having your work be available to create and steal like an artist.
John, you made a lot of jazz music out there. you could probably make some pretty fake jabs pretty easy. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I think from a sort of creative perspective, that idea of attribution or a citation, I think that's the thing that is most interesting to me, is that right now, for example, if you use Suno, it's not super clear exactly where the influences might have came from. Unless, of course, you say, make me a song that sounds like the Black Keys. Then, like, yeah, okay, it's going to sound like the Black Keys. But in other cases, it's not as transparent. And I think, for me personally, that's more what I'm interested in. Perhaps OpenAI is making some money off of my music. Perhaps Suno is making some money off of my music. I doubt it, because I'm not making any money off of my music, so I don't know how they'd be doing it. So, like, I think that's often where the challenge lies, right? You feel like you're missing out on a piece of the pie, but the likelihood is that you're not actually.
It would be so funny if they were making money that you weren't.
Oh, God, man, I can only imagine.
And that could easily happen. Hey, look, I don't know if we're giving everybody FOMO here, like to get to the party or whatever till they come back. I'm happy to keep going if you have questions to ask, but we're also happy to. Oh, well, questions. All right. As long as there's questions and you guys are okay, I'll keep going. But if we're boring you, we can stop.
I'd like to stay on the topic of the economic implications of the AI systems we're building. I really appreciate the perspective that you bring in terms of saying we will create these models that are able to perform tasks and humanity will gain back time. But here is the catch-22. If people have time, but they don't have expendable income, where does that, like, I have, oh, awesome, now my job is taken over by AI. The job was bringing in $2,000 a week. Now I have my 40 hours back, but I don't have the $2,000. So here is my question. Do you think companies that are building these end products, which we know just based on the scale at which the industry is progressing, is going to really replace a lot of jobs? Do you think those companies have the responsibility to start thinking about imagining the future of work and making, just like how we would task companies that produce oil with the environmental implications, do you think AI companies should also be tasked with figuring out or separating out some of that manpower to thinking about the economic implications and how people are going to function in a world where they have time but no income?
Yeah, this is a really thing. I wonder if anyone, in the year 25, you know that song. But listen, I think there's been changes throughout history that have changed jobs a lot. Like the printing press, those monks did not like that. They didn't like it because they could print more stuff faster. They liked it because they couldn't control history anymore, because they were the only ones that could write stuff. So, and then you have electricity, and then you had, even in farming. Look with the tractor. Like there was a big change where there's now there's not as many near as many farmers as there were in the world. So, when we look at these changes, I think it's right. I think you have to think about what's going to happen at the end of the day. And there's a lot of people talking about this way smarter than I am, but they're talking about people's lives changing so that you don't have to work as much. So maybe it isn't an 8-hour workday, and maybe everyone does have some kind of guaranteed income. Maybe there are certain people who want to do more. I personally think that people want a purpose in life, and they want a vocation, and they want to work hard, and the people that do that and are building something are happier. So but it's I'd love to hear everyone here's perspective on this. We can come this way this time if you like.
Yeah, we're gonna reverse the pattern. The immediate thing that I thought of, and maybe this is only true in the short term. Like I don't want to promise too much. I think that's a really important question for us to grapple with in the long term. But as a product marketer right now, like the catch-22 that you're asking, that is my job right now, is to tell people that hey, this thing that you're buying, it's not going to ruin the world, I promise. The thing that it's going to be better for a lot of people, and when you talk about like should people in the tech industry be spending time thinking about saying
this is what the future is going to be and how we can find these new jobs for these people. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying, hey, that person that you hired, they are now going to be able to do more as a result. And because they're able to do more, you're going to be able to take on more clients. And because you're going to be able to take on more clients, you're going to have more cash flow for you to be able to take on more people doing the jobs that AI can't do. Because I think you said it, Alicia, like there's a whole bunch of service-based businesses, even when we get to the point where we have Boston Dynamics with sharp objects by people's hands or heads, like I think we're going to really crave that authentic human experience. And so that's what I'm encouraging, telling people in our industry, the agency, local business space is, hey, you're going to do this stuff, but instead, or I should say, AI is going to do these things, but instead you're going to spend more time doing this thing, and that's going to be way more beneficial for people. But that's a short term. You know, it's my experience, and it's a different context. But that's where I've been coming at it from.
Chris?
I think it's a great question. For instance, I don't think we're necessarily meant to stare at a screen and sit for 12 hours a day, right? The body's meant to move, and so if that does free up time for me to get vertical and move my feet and get my steps in, like amazing. We have a voiceover talent roster. And it's a curated roster that we're proud of, and it consists of talent and voiceover artists, some of them full-time across Western Canada.
All I need is a couple hours from each one.
That's it, and they're gone, done, it's over, right? And so that's the concern, right? And so there are softwares now, and it's like, okay, soft sell, energetic, male, female, like you name it, you can customize, you input the script and the copy, and off you go, right? And so at this point, what we've found, and we're proud that we have real people doing these jobs and performing this art at this point, right? Definitely excited about AI and the potential and the efficiencies and the future. But it's some of those jobs where if it means some of these softwares are going to take over for these real people. These are people we know. These are single moms who, that gig is extra Christmas money or whatever that might be, right? And so, of course, these are things we need to grapple with and consider. And so what we found is that these AI softwares, in terms of voiceover, as this example goes, to say Wanuskewin or Saskatchewan or Idlewild Drive is a little challenging at this point. And so, so that's...
So really quickly on that, I talked about how we have AI voices doing our voiceovers, but I have not yet got one that's able to say Vendasta. I'm going to keep going on that. But
add Vendasta to the list, right?
Saskatchewan, pretty good, but we're not there yet.
So something to really grapple with and to consider and to approach as ethically as possible.
Alicia, anything on that one?
I feel like it won't go like overnight. So it's like to stress over it. Look, we're not in the greatest position as we are current way. So I think the reality is like we need wholeness. We need people to have presence in their life more than anything. And I really strongly feel that is going to help a lot. And even if we're not talking 50% of your life will be back into being like, what do I do? But even if like you think of the people that could get 10% of their life back, to give back 10% more to communities, 10% to, back to be able to be present in those situations, I think greatly we'll see a lot of change. And the desire to want these things in our lives to grow and have materialism and have all those things would decrease. So therefore the need to have such high income won't kind of be there, and maybe we'll see a little bit of a difference of the gaps that we're seeing in the world right now. So there's a lot of questions here, but I think people first is probably the way to approach it.
And it'll sort itself out. Okay, to close up, one piece of advice that you give all the entrepreneurs in the room. I'm going to ask each of you to give one piece of advice. I'm going to start here with you and work back down. You ready?
As an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, to the entrepreneurs out here, any of them, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
It's like, don't lose sight of who you are and what you want to give. I think, yeah, to stay true to yourself and believe in yourself is number one. Surround yourself with people that keep bringing positivity to your life. And no matter who it is, just make sure that you share that light with them, because that's what's going to get you to where you need to go.
Double tap, 1 2 1 2. I think just having that really strong core values, and when you're faced with a tough decision, that can be your guiding light. And yeah, anytime your back's up against the wall, just refer to your core values. And it's pretty hard to make a mistake, or at least you'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror in terms of yeah, those values, right? So I think that's a big one. And to live an interesting life outside of your business or your art, you can't make interesting art if you don't live an interesting life. And I think that's a really big one.
Oh, that's cool.
This one is a bit more specific, partly because I don't have some of the same start entrepreneurial experience. But as a product marketer, I'm going to say that as an entrepreneur, you saw a problem, a really specific problem that you came to solve. And maybe that's going to evolve throughout your experience as an entrepreneur, but really just focus on solving that problem. There's a whole bunch of other things that you can do. There's a whole bunch of, listen, if you're going to use AI as just a ChatGPT wrapper to do it, that's not solving a problem for anyone. So you came here because you have something that you want to solve, and that's the best way to reach a market. So keep at it and do that. Solve a problem.
Good. Let's have a hand for all the for Alicia, Chris, and John. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I hope we put enough time in here and getting ready for the winners to come back up and we see who won. So thank you all. Go have some fun till then.
Thanks to the panel and to Brendan. You guys, so Mike invited me to come here, as we've all established. Mike invited me to come, and I got a script. And the script says, talk, and then fill time. Like, do banter. And I think that's, Brendan's trying to run away. I think that's what happens until the winners are announced. And the job really of the panel, Mike's job, Jesse's job, which Jesse's not here, is to keep people engaged so that when they come to tell us who the winners are, nobody has, gone home or just gone to get food, or we're not all in the washroom. So there's also a clock ticking here that people haven't seen. It says 1:02, an hour and 2 minutes since the investors have started. The panels, Alicia, with her insightful comment, has pointed out that the panel was longer than the pitches. So for an hour and 2 minutes, you guys, investors have been locked in a room talking about those 5 pitches and those founders and what it might be an escape room. I don't know if they need to be busted out. We might need to use AI to get them out. Yeah. I think what happens next, I'm just totally left with the microphone and the TNT stage, you guys. Like, I have the TNT stage. I think what happens next is Brandon comes and does a little banter. I said that because I just saw him walk out. We're eagerly awaiting the return of Mike Wolsfeld and the investor room to come out and tell us the outcome. I received a bit of a script that says, we'll announce the winner. And then after that, will remind people of a few things. And at the end of the script, the work was really put in to say, after party, exclamation part. Announcement, exclamation. That's Mike's part. So there will be some announcements. And an after party. And an after party. Yes. Thank you. There's still food downstairs, folks. The drinks are open. What we don't want to see is anyone leaving this venue before the winners are announced, because let's just reflect on the pitches we saw. Round of applause for the pitches. Everyone was pretty respectful. Everyone was really engaged with those pitches. They were quiet. It got quieter now that I started yelling. Are we ready? Not much happening. Yeah. Yeah. So, community partners. There's a wide array of community partners. So folks, don't worry. It's fine, Mike. No, it's okay. Don't worry. It's fine. No, I got it. Like you. I was just saying, Mike invited me here, and the script I got said, like, banter and fill time. And so for an hour and 5 minutes, as you'll see on that.
Has it just been the panel and then
there?
you for this whole time?
You're welcome. You're welcome. I was literally about to open up to either community announcements. So there's a co-launch finale coming up, folks, from Collabs on November 28th, 5:30 at Louis. So I was literally opening up to community announcements and or karaoke.
You could have just put music on and let everybody network.
No, because I said the single job that I have right now is to make sure that these people don't either leave because they thought the show was done, or just go downstairs and try to go to the bathroom and have more drinks. So, I said what we're waiting for is Mike to come, and then we're going to kick off some other stuff.
Thank you very much. And apologies, everybody in the room. It was an intense conversation in the boardroom with the investors. We have a decision. But before we get to that, we have a few slides to get through. We'll get through them really quick. Throw those up there. Get the clicker. All right. Before we get there, there'll be a winner tonight, but let's just give it up real quick for everybody who pitched here tonight and went through this process. And the other companies, the other 10 companies that made it into our top 15 that didn't get here tonight as well. We want to keep an eye on them and see where they go in the next few years.
Let's have a little pause, because also, again, if anybody ever needs someone at their event to make people sit down or tell people to be quiet, I'm available at all times. So anybody in the back of the room, I'm looking at like Alex Shimla, I'm looking, whose faces do I see? Back there, who has a line of sight to the rest of the room, who may not be aware that we are now recommencing and we're going to announce winners. Go tell them to come and sit down. Grayson's a great partner.
You've been deputized.
Yeah, all right.
All right, and of course, we got to thank all of our partners and sponsors. I'm not going to make you listen to all of them again, but huge thanks to our partners and sponsors for making this all possible. I'm going to skip that because you've already heard that. And so something you might not be familiar with, if this is your first time coming to a TNT event, is when we invest, we don't just invest with the pre-committed investor checks. There are also top-ups from investors if they want to invest more money into the winning company or into side deals. And TNT has a venture capital fund that also invests an automatic $50,000 into each winner of each summit in each region. And we carry over about 60% of the total fund for follow-on raises so that we can be a meaningful partner moving forward, helping these companies get to the next raise, and we can help give further growth capital to the companies as they continue to grow. All right, and so before we get to the winners, here's where we're going afterwards. You've stayed this long, you might as well stay late. We'll be.
You're welcome. I kept them here, Mike. I kept them here.
Alex, you will also be leading the procession over to Congress as well. And if you like, you can donate to the bar tab. Cheers at startuptnt.com. And here we are. We're at the winner. I do want to say, because the investor deliberation was very difficult. It was very close. We went longer than we normally like to go. So we have not had time to gather side deal interest. So today we're just going to announce a winner. But I do want to say there is side deal interest gathering behind the scenes. We will be re-meeting as investors next week to coordinate potential side deals. But tonight we just have one winner that we're going to announce on stage.
I was out here. I don't know who it is.
No idea, do you? All right. The winner of Summit X in Saskatchewan is PathoScan.
Well, thank you very much. I think everybody already said this, but the ecosystem is really great. I think we've been here a couple of years, and a lot of you have been here for quite a long time. And yeah, it's great for a company like ours to go from nothing to now have money to be able to do what we're planning on doing, and it's just great.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It's been really fun to be a part of. I just want to give a thanks to everyone who helped us get us here. Obviously, the people at Opus, wonderful program. Highly recommend you join it if you're looking to start a company. Our great advisors, Dr. Eskew, as he goes by Chris, in the back there with IntelliYeast. Just thank you to everyone. My parents are there as well. So thank you guys, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, it's been great to see your journey. I think I met you, Tayyab, like one of the first hackathons that you did. You were like a hackathon king. PathoScan, I think, started in a hackathon, so it's a really great ecosystem story to start this company at an ecosystem event, enter into programs like Opus, come through Startup TNT and raise some capital, and now on to some bigger and better things. So give it all up for PathoScan, everybody. All right, well, and that's all we have for you today. We're gonna have
you guys. There's champagne
we're
here.
Gonna have some prosecco and some wine and take pictures. But while we're doing that, I just want to thank Vendasta and the crew here, Shane and Katrina. You've been amazing to work with. Thank On Purpose Leadership for helping us out. Thank Winnie and Jonah and the TNT Ops team for everything that they do. All of our sponsors, partners, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's fucking great. Thanks for coming out. Come to Congress afterwards for the after party. We love you all, and have a good time.
That was literally the last thing on the script. It just said after party exclamation. After party. F1 like that, yeah, and spray each other. Each other like on a. Ethan, yeah, Ethan will do it. Don't worry. 5 shots here, just in case. Come on. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, here we go. Yeah, just a gentle. Come on, here we go. Yeah, almost there. Yes, Ethan. Woo! fine job. Vendasta has everything. Vendasta has everything. I think that's everyone.
Shane, can we get some music?
Cheers. Cheers.
Before you guys leave, I want to do one more photo here. Guys photo. Last photo. Well, if away, we'll get an all family.